Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's pop open a soda. Sorry, a drink of your choice. Because today we are going to be doing a review. Something that I just finished reading. It took me a little bit longer to read it than it should have. But The Tomb of Dracula, Blade, The Early Years, Volume 1. Actually, it's the only volume right now. It says, The Complete Early Adventures of Blade, Marvel's horror icon, collected for the first time. Collecting Blade's early adventures from the Tomb of Dracula, 1972. Number 10, which is his first appearance. 12 through 14, 24, 30, 41 through 43, 45, 51, 53, and 58. Adventure into Fear, 24. Vampire Tales, 8 through 9. Marvel Preview, 3 and 8. Doctor Strange, 61 through 62 and 67. Marvel Comics Present, 64. The Tomb of Dracula, 1991, sorry. And Tomb of Dracula, that was 1972. So 1 through 4. And materials from the Tomb of Dracula, 1972. 17, 19, 21, 44, 46 through 50, and 52. So, this was really cool to see kind of the evolution of Blade. Though, in the early years, there wasn't much evolution. He was pretty much the same. Now here is the cover of the first issue, which is also the cover for this book. That would be The Tomb of Dracula number 10. And this comes from the 1972. And boy, let me tell you, it is a product of its times. He is, if you watch some of those old blaxploitation movies from back then, this is him. That is exactly how he is, and that's not a bad thing, because Blade is a badass. He is singular-minded as to finding the man who killed his mother. Now, if you've seen Wesley Snipes' Blade, you'll realize that it was oh Jesus, Deacon Frost. What they didn't really say in the movie is one that Blade is British. His mother worked as a concubine, a professional companion, so to speak. And she went into labor, so all the girls that, she got pregnant, went into labor, and the girls who were with her, I guess she went in early, one of them went running out to get a doctor, and some guy goes, hey, I'm a doctor. And he comes in, and it turns out that he's a vampire. And so he attacks her to get some blood. Boom. So it's basic origin story. But what you didn't find out in the movies, and what movie was different, is he was raised by the women who were his mother's co-workers. in the house of ill repute. And they, basically told him the story of what happened. And he kind of trained, and his first encounter with vampires and stuff is how he came across his mentor. And in this, it is not Whistler. It's not the old white guy who trained him. He comes across a guy who's being attacked by a group of people, and it's this old homeless wino dude or heroin addict, and he stops him, and they're vampires, and the guy is grateful, and Blade takes him back to where he grew up, helps him get off the smack, and turns out the guy was a professional horn player, a musician. And so he gets a job at this club, teaches Blade how to play trumpet, and also how he'd also been a vampire hunter and how to hunt vampires. So early on, if people wanted to find Blade, they'd go to this club where he was either there playing jazz with the band for money, to make his money, or he was there with his girlfriend, his woman, Saffron, who was a dancer. And that is his backstory, which they changed for the movies. And that was really kind of cool. And, he had he didn't like the man. He was, really kind of 70s-ish, Black Power type of character who was a vampire hunter. And it was really kind of cool. My only issue with this was he was a minor character in these books. Because Tomb of Dracula, there was a group of people who were the main characters, who were always, there was a Van Helsing and Harker and all that stuff. They were the central characters, and Blade would only help out every once in a while. So you'd, like I read to you, you'd get only certain issues with him in there. And so there wasn't really enough stories where you can really get him, since he was just kind of a recurring character, much change. But you did eventually find out, he eventually did find out who the person was that killed his mother. Because he didn't know who the guy was at first. It was just a vampire that killed him, and he was always just trying to help them go after Dracula until he found out who the old silver-haired guy was that killed his mom. And eventually, by doing that, he found out who killed his mother and was able to go after him and eventually get to him. One of the weird things was, though, is when, that all the way through down to here where you see the Wolverine thing, you're always thinking that it was that one character. But then when you have these last 4 books, which was The Tomb of Dracula 1 through 4, which, from 91, you have Dracula saying that he's the one that killed Blade's mother. So I don't see how they could have done that without kind of retconning his origin in any way, because this is supposed to have all of his appearances in this book. So in between the last appearance of that stuff and this one, they must have changed it without him being on page. But a minor thing. This is a really fun book, because you can sit there and just, you can sit there and see how, Marv Wolfman did his stuff. And the books are kind of dated, like as I've described before, but you also have Dracula. He's always walking around in his cape and stuff. In modern times, walking around dressed like that, and you're just like, dude, I don't care how arrogant you are, you still probably wouldn't be going around dressing like you would be 500 years ago. If you're that arrogant, you'd want to look good, you change your clothes. But that was just me being a little picky. But this was well worth the money, and it's a great piece to have in my collection. I mean, if you're into that type of stuff. And I cannot wait for Volume 2. I am going to give this a 4 out of 5, and say pick it up, because it was really enjoyable to read. Some of the dialogue was a little hokey and clunky. Some of the stories were, but overall, it was a fun read and a great time. So I recommend you pick it up and enjoy. So let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Like, subscribe, most of all. Enjoy your comics.